Hello, I am Devoted221, and welcome to the channel, and to Rimworld. We are going to be starting a new Rimworld with one simple goal in mind, to find the Archonexus. The why behind that will come later, but for now, let's set up our colony. We are going to be playing a decently modded Rimworld, and I'll have a list of mods being used in the description, but some of the notable ones are Vanilla Sidecast Expanded and Combat Expanded. Both of these mods are here to add a bit of complexity, fun, and challenge throughout the entire playthrough. As the title suggests, we are playing a Naked Brutality, Randy Random on 500% difficulty. To make matters worse for ourselves, we are going to start on an ice sheet. As we quickly breeze through all of these, our seed for this playthrough is Survival Devoted 221 on the screen for you. For the other factions, we are removing the Gentle Tribe in place of a Cannibal and Fierce Tribe, solely to increase raid variety and complexity. I actually ended up liking the seed and this world, but at 50% it left our ice sheets a little bit more to be desired, so I ended up to 100% really quickly. Once generated, our sheet is close to the northern pole within the Brazos Expanse, more specifically the Mega Scarab Elbow Mountains. I always like to opt for a slightly larger map size, and to make surviving on the ice sheet a little bit easier, we are going to be choosing summer for our starting season. It's still cold enough to give us hypothermia, but it won't be instantaneous. It's gonna be -10 instead of -60. I look for a mountainous tile that contains at least granite and marble, and in our case, we actually happily get some slate as well, something to offset the marble, and it's actually slightly easier to build with. We lock in the coordinates at 50.33 degrees north and 46.60 degrees west, and thus begins the start of our colony. For our ideology, I have something in mind. We are the Archlight Seekers, followers of Ravros, god of ancient knowledge. Ravros was said to be the first Psycaster. They changed the whole universe with their very mind. Through hard battles and great losses, Ravros found peace in the far reaches of the universe. They formed the Archlight Nebula and hid the planet Lightfall within. This world is said to be one of complete peace, a true utopia. Much as Ravros struggled and fought to achieve their peace, so will we. We will uncover their secrets and fight our way through anything so we can earn our peace with Ravros on Lightfall. This brings us to the goal of this multi-playthrough series. Find the pieces of the Archonexus to be transported off the rim and to the destination of our story, Planet Lightfall. Much like the ideology is already planned, so is our first character. Let's meet Devoted221. Quite simply, Devoted221 was prepared carefully. I took complete control over their xenotype as well as their background traits and skills. For skills, we went with only things that will be essential for devoted survival. Barely any shooting or melee. We will let the cold kill most of our attackers. Construction and mining, both with minor passions, and at level 8, because we will need to be able to build and excavate an early shelter. Level 6 cooking, so none of our scarcely sourced food goes to waste through food poisoning. Not that we will be able to cook for some time, but art, plants, and animals will be abysmally low, since these will not be widely available throughout the ice sheet. Level 8 crafting, so we can quickly make stone chunks as well as any gear we need early on. Medical and intellectual will be at 7 with minor passions, so we can tend to any frostbite or other various wounds and diseases without too much risk of actually straight out dying. And so research isn't terribly slow. Finally, social at 5, so that the very few traders that do come won't be overpricing their goods too much. The only other thing to note is that yes, Devoted does have Silent level 3. This is mostly so we can explore Vanilla Sidecast Expanded without having to grind for a Silent Neuroformer. mostly because on an ice sheet, that is not going to happen for a very, very long time. And level 3 will allow us to choose at least one psychic talent tree and up to 2 psycasts within that tree. I did make a relationship preset, but it didn't load for some reason. So to quickly gloss over it, Devoted here has a daughter who we do not know, as well as 3 unknown sisters and 2 unknown brothers, all sharing a mother, but for most of them different fathers. With all the preliminary work done, let us dive into our Randy 500 Ice Sheet Survival. The moment we drop into the rim, we have to pause, needing to get our psycasts chosen, an early meal sourced, and a starting base location. For psycasts, I started with Frost Shaper for some early ways to deal decent damage. For those familiar with the mod, I opted not to choose Ice Shield at level 1, solely to add some extra challenge. Once we have some regulated heat, then I will be taking Ice Shield for when we have to venture out of our future shelter on very brutally cold days. For our base, my greatest concern is having a steam vent, as well as nearby building material. Most likely steel, unless I can source a lot of bricks. So this small spot with 2 semi-close steam vents seems pretty decent, especially since it has a large steel vein to the right. And we quickly slap together a basic structure and stockpile zone. We can finally unpause, only to immediately draft Devoted and get him to kill some snow hares. This is when I actually noticed the Ice Spike mistake, as the damage from Ice Spike is significantly higher than Breathe Ice, but alas, it does get the job done alongside the overkill with Frost Ray, and we're going to be using similar tactics to take out the other 2 snow hares. We utilize the nice cold climate to keep our food fresh, while we move on to mining the steel required to build our shelter. Something to note, since Devoted is in fact a Psycaster and the only Psycaster of our colony, we by default becomes the Archlight Seeker, the leader of our ideal legion. This comes with the problem that until we can make clothing, Devoted will wish to have a head wrap, permanently reducing his mood. And with another snow hare annihilated, we will move on to building our shelter. With only a few botched constructions, we construct our first semi-safe shelter. Devoted did decide to build a roof where we elected not to, so his skin wouldn't melt off, but clearly he knows better. A lot of meditating and doing nothing later, Devoted consumes his first snow hare corpse. With the shelter getting a little too hot, we have to actually end up removing more roof tiles. We create a crafting and butchering spot and quickly craft a steel knife, which is in fact a despised item of our ideology, but it will be a necessary sacrifice. I do end up deciding to redesign the entire roof and have the unroofed area be above the vent. I'm not sure if this actually does anything, but it feels like it does, so we stick with it. consuming another snow hare corpse, we set out to create another. As well as an Arctic fox. As Devoted mines steel, we plan our real base, one contained within the mountain. As we begin the plan to connect the steam vent to the mountainside, Devoted finally has his first mental break. Luckily, he is planning on hiding in his warm, safe shelter. Thankfully, a bit of catharsis will help us keep spirits high in the long-ish term. As Devoted wakes from his sleep, Randy blesses us with a load of cargo pods. Cargo pods containing 182 glorious peaches. Once Devoted decides he is done meditating, we begin construction of our heating tunnel. Or sleeping. That works too, Devoted. With our first instance of frostbite, we need to build this more advanced shelter quickly. Being able to mine out the mountain while staying warm is crucial for us to begin making actual progress. Pushing Devoted, we do force him to mine. If we mine out towards the heating tube and get enough room to place a bed and a door, we will be in a significantly better situation. We finish the inside roof and finalize the room with a door. We quickly make a stockpile to move the marble chunk out of the doorway, and with that, we have given ourselves a safe underground room to operate within. The only problem is that the heat vent works a little too well at the moment. We build a vent in hopes of stopping some of the heat from burning us alive. And next, we reorganize and continue mining out our entrance. To our surprise, a snow hare comes. We do make quick work of it, not before it gets one tiny scratch on Devoted. And with Devoted sleeping while his wounds heal, this is where we will bring our first episode of Rimworld Randy 500% on the ice sheet to an end. Thank you for watching, and I hope to see you in the next one. Goodbye.